The vendors have all new stuff this week. Let's dive right in, starting in the Scholarium. We have Bound Affix Script Force, adds force, a buff increasing critical damage. Bound Affix Script Uncertainty, adds uncertainty, a debuff reducing weapon critical damage. Bound Focus Script Immobilize, adds an immobilization effect. And Bound Signature Script Wayfarer's Mastery, adds improved functionality of skill line passives. Looks like that's it. Let's head down into the sewers. We've made our way into Imperial City sewers. Let's talk to the Telvar merchant. First up, we have Amulet of Bulwark Ruination. And of course, down here we have the matching ring as well. Our map is Coldharbour. I definitely don't recommend getting maps at 6,000 Telvar apiece unless it's one of the newest, highest priced maps, but not Coldharbour. If you're curious though, Coldharbour brings us Meridia's Blessed Armor, Prisoner's Rags, and Stygian, as well as a chance to get one of 4 book furnishings. Although you have to have found the eidetic memory book out in the wild before you can get the book furnishing. I do have an article on that if you're not sure how that works. Link is below. Our scripts, we have Bound Affix Script Innervation, adds Innervation, a debuff reducing critical damage. Bound Focus Script Disease Damage, adds disease damage. Bound Signature Script Fencer's Parry, adds deflection of next direct damage attack. We have a fragment this week. Fragment of the Crucible is one of 5 pieces of Roar Verdant Green skill style. This one is Fragment of the Crucible, which drops from the final boss in Blessed Crucible. That is a 4-man dungeon and is a guaranteed drop. It does drop out of normal. I think 25,000 Telvar for something that's a guaranteed drop is pretty steep, but it's here if you would prefer to do it this way. Our first lead is Huntland's Blessed Leather. This is part of Shadow Queen's Cowl Mythic and drops from the Westweald world boss Centurion's Rise. And then we have Ossified Lantern, which is part of the new Cult Blacksmithing Station and drops from the Delve and Eastern Solstice Sea and Sword Lodge. Next, we have Mara's Balm Amulet and Ring, and it looks like that is it. Let's head over to Infinite Archive. And let's see what Filer Ul has.
Immortal.
First up, we have Shadowfin treasure maps. Again, I wouldn't spend 2,000 archival fortunes on a base game map. However, Shadowfin brings us Hatchling Shell, Ropes of the Hist, and Swamp Raider, as well as a chance for the ancestral Nord, Daggers, or Shoulders motif leads. Next, we have Archival Riddles. Consume 20 Archival Riddles to unlock the Archival Veteran Achievement and the Veteran of the Infinite Body Art. Here's the Veteran of the Infinite Body Art. I never recommend these. You will get them automatically just by doing dailies. They'll unlock in a particular order. So if you do enough dailies, you're going to get these without spending 60,000 archival fortunes to get body art. That's just silly. All right, our first plan today is Leowin Bookcase Tall Filled. On PCNA, that looks like it's running 29 to 40K. On EU, I looked it up and it's running about 39 to 55K. I like these already filled bookcases. Our scripts, we have Bound Affix Script Intellect and Endurance, adds Intellect and Endurance buffs, increasing Magicka and Stamina recovery. Bound Focus Script Poison Damage, adds poison damage. Bound Signature Script Knight's Valor, adds improved use of bash or blocking. Our style page this week is Prior Theric's Mask. It's a pretty nice mask. I always recommend getting these. I do think that the drop rate on these is astronomically low, and on top of it being astronomically low, you are limited to a very short window of time when these drop, so I do recommend getting the masks. If you're curious though, this comes out of Red Petal Bastion, and if you were to farm it on your own, you would have a better chance of it dropping if you had the hard mode. Being a newer DLC dungeon, the hard mode of this is not all that easy. I think 15,000 archival fortunes in this case is definitely worth it. Next, we have Companion Equipment Light Armor. I don't usually recommend these. They are bound when you buy them this way, and you're at the mercy of RNG as to what trait you get. So the chances of you getting something that you're actually going to want are pretty slim. I think that's not the greatest deal for 5,000 archival fortunes. Our second plan is Design Argonian Skull Crocodile, running about 12 to 15K on PCNA, but only about 7 to 10K on PCEU. Not the best deal, but it's still not horrible for 2,000 archival fortunes. If you do need it, it's going to save you a little bit of time. You can just come grab it. But not our best one. Next, we have Fragment of the Badman, which is another one of the pieces for Roar Verdant Green skill style. So we've got 2 showing up this week at the vendors. This one drops out of the Glenumbra Public Dungeon Badman's Hollows off of Skitterflame. Next, we have our leads. We have Darklight Gemstone, which is part of Music Box Glyphic Secrets. This one drops out of the Telvanni Peninsula Delve Fathom's Drift. And then this one's much better. This one is Dovra Sabaton Guard, which of course is part of the Dovra Sabaton's Mythic. And this one drops from the last boss of Lair of Marsalok. I don't know about you, but a lot of people dislike the dungeon Lair of Marsalok. It's pretty long. And of course, it's not a guaranteed drop. So if you would prefer to avoid Lair of Marsalok, it is here for you at 5,000 archival fortunes. Our third pattern is Indral Carpet Almalexia. On PCNA, TTC suggested is 338K to 422K. Looks like we have 17 listings for between 120,000 and almost 2 million gold. So this looks like a great deal. I think for 2,000 archival fortunes, it's definitely worth buying. However, when I looked over on PCEU, those listings are only running about 29 to 40K. There is one listing for 100,000 gold, but it's definitely much cheaper on PCEU. I'm not sure what's driving up the price on PCNA. Wishful thinking, perhaps. But regardless, I do still think it's a good buy. Next, we have 6th House Taylor's Hammer, which is one of 7 parts of the 6th House robe costume. This one drops out of Forgotten Wastes in Vardenfell, which is a public dungeon. At 500 to 600 gold a piece, these probably aren't worth buying for archival fortunes. I would just go buy it from a trader. Looks like there's 35 listings on PCNA, so you shouldn't have any trouble finding it. And then finally, we have 2 books. We have The Waiting Door. This one drops out of Infinite Archive, but the eidetic memory comes from Mourner's Solace Inn in Necrom, Telvanni Peninsula. Again, if you're not sure how that works, there's a link below. And I do really love this book, Ulascant's Manifesto. Look how pretty that is. This one also drops out of Infinite Archive, and the eidetic memory is part of the quest in Apocrypha called Fate's Lost Dream. All right, we're going to run a couple arcs of Infinite Archive to see what gear is dropping this week, and we'll check back in a second. We just ran a couple arcs of Infinite Archive, and it looks like this week we have gear dropping from Rivenspire. That includes Darkstride, Necropotence, and Vampire Cloak, as well as from Telvanni Peninsula. That includes Adamant Lurker, Kimono Tong, and Vivek's Duality. That's going to do it for this week. Have a Merry Christmas. We'll see you in the next one.